And back on Open Line, Chuck Long here with Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. We appreciate so many people calling in tonight.
We love it.
You realize how many questions people have, how many legal questions. If you are just tuning in, we are asking the lawyer tonight, and our expert, of course, Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm. We're going right back to our phones. We don't have a lot of time left in the phone hour, about 15 minutes. So if you do have a question or a comment, get on the line. That's right. So we do appreciate the patience of Mike. Mike, you have the floor. So do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, I was wondering if someone was put on a deed and the escrow company made sure that they understood what they was doing, and if they agreed to it, is there any way they can have your name taken off of that deed?
No, the escrow company can only collect some monies, and that's meant to pay your insurance and your property taxes, so they could not remove your name from that deed.
All right, well, that is good to know. So, Mike, we appreciate that call. Right back to the lines. Marilyn is on the line with us. Marilyn, good evening. And do you have a question or comment for Kevin?
Yes, I have a question, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, a good friend of mine, her father died in November. Her mom just died a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sorry.
They own a home. He owns a car. She had CDs, and they had insurance policies.
All right.
My friend is on Medicare and Social Security. Is that going to impact her income if they probate it and everything is given to her?
Right. No, it wouldn't affect her Social Security. And remember, so much of the times there's those properties can be by policy. That's another great thing about insurance policy. It really goes outside of your estate, can't be taxed, and you're the beneficiary. So, Chuck, if you and I were friends and you said, "Oh, I'm going to leave him $100,000," that money could come to me and go outside of the estate, even if he left the rest of the estate to his children.
Okay, again, Marilyn, thanks for the call. That call, very helpful to get that answer from Kevin, so we appreciate that. All right, Virginia is on the line with us. Virginia, good evening, and do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I got one question. Is there any way to turn the people in that are calling you? I'm 83 years old, and I need, it's hard for me to get up and down.
Yes, ma'am.
I fell the other day, but it didn't hurt me too bad, thank God.
So you're getting harassing phone calls.
Yeah, I want you to lower your insurance rate, lower this, or do that, or buy this, or buy that. And they just aggravate the dick. I got 2 whole small stenographer pads full of names and numbers.
I believe I would call in a complaint to Tennessee Consumer Affairs. They may have to file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission or one of those state organizations, try to have you removed from the list. You'll see some people say that every time you get a harassing phone call, you can get $1,500, but that's been a challenge. I really haven't seen that come through. I hear a lot. There's a lot of theories in the law, but when it actually comes to putting it in your hand, it's been something different.
Okay, but that's good to know that there is somebody that you can call.
Yes, you can call and get yourself off. They call us 24 hours a day.
Oh, absolutely. So, Virginia, hope you are able to take that advice and do that and get off those lists. So that would be good. So, all right, we are going back to our lines right now. I do believe...
Out to the list.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going back to the lines right now. Tommy is on the line with us. Tommy, do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Yes, I got a question for Kevin. How you doing?
Doing good, Tommy. Go ahead.
I've got a question on a new Tennessee law that just came out in January. The code is 4039-201 as a disclaimer. And I don't quite understand what the disclaimer law is.
Well, disclaimers, usually, you know, when you go to park your car somewhere, they'll give you a ticket and they'll say, this is a disclaimer, we're not responsible for any of the contents in your car. Sometimes when you go and ride a ride at a fair, they have a disclaimer. You are assuming the risk by taking this ride. If you ride horses, there's a disclaimer. So that's really the theory in the law. And so why do they come about? Because it's against public policy for people to get involved and get hurt. So they're coming forward saying, you know, if we have a little pony ride for a birthday party, A lot of people say, well, sign the form. And they say, well, I don't have to worry about anything. We've already signed that. That's not necessarily true. So you could still possibly bring your action even though there was a disclaimer. And you'll pull up to the garage lots of times and they say, we're not responsible for vehicles left outside. Still a bunch of gray areas.
Okay, so anytime there's a disclaimer, there's still some gray area.
Absolutely.
Okay, good to know. All
when
right,
you have a creative lawyer, there is always gray areas.
Okay, very good to know. Tommy, great that you brought that up.
Thank you, Tommy.
We appreciate the call. All right, we're going to the lines right now. Steve is on the line with us. Steve, do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for
Glad to have
calling.
you.
Go ahead.
This is healthcare related.
Yes.
Not too long ago, and I can't believe I'd be the only person having trouble with healthcare.
You're not.
I had a procedure done, and it was planned, and we did what we felt was our due diligence. We had the doctor and the hospital check on the insurance and say, okay, are we covered? Are we in?
I'm with you. Go ahead. We're tracking.
So when it all came about, they all said, Bill, let's get you taken care of.
Yes.
2 months later, now I get a bill. I find out that the hospital, or that the doctor, excuse me, was in my plan.
Yes.
Anesthesiologist in my plan. The labs in my plan. The hospital, not in my plan.
Okay.
They said it was, and now I'm on the hook for $9,000. And they're telling me that, well, you know, we usually check and someone messed up, but it's your job to know. You know,
Yeah.
and how much more can a consumer know before they, you know?
I am so glad that you brought this to the public's attention, because so many people say, well, okay, I've got insurance, it's going to cover it. They never had your problem, and it is a real problem because someone says, oh yeah, you're completely covered, it's in your network, and so we do it, and then we get a bill later. So that's when you probably need to talk to a lawyer privately, and I try to rely on it was intentional misrepresentation. And if people are admitting, well, we misinformed you, they take on some liability if you relied on that misrepresentation, and there's some detriment. And when someone's trying to collect $9,000, I think you're fitting the formula.
Absolutely. So, Steve, we appreciate that call, that question, because I'm sure, as he said,
Wow.
he's not the only one.
What are you going to do tonight, Chuck? We break our arm, you go in there and you say, are we all covered? Are we in the network? They said, yes. You say go. Then here's a $35,000 bill in a month.
Right. So, like you said, talk to the attorney. That's what you need to do. So again, Steve, thanks for the call. We're going back to the lines right now. George is on the line with us. George, all right, so thanks, George. We've got about 60 seconds, so if you could get that question in.
Is, my mother-in-law is sick in bed. She ain't out of bed over a year, and we do not have a medical power attorney for her. She's alert, but she cannot. My sister-in-law, my wife, takes care of it. How did we go about getting a medical power attorney when she's not able to sign?
Okay, now here's the deal. The question is, if she's mentally able, she can execute that document. If she has her mind, she has to have periods of lucidness. If she is not capable mentally, that deal is done. You can't get a power of attorney. You'd have to move for a conservatorship. So again, that's why the early bird gets the worm. If you see we have problems, let's move while they still have their mental faculties, and it'll save your family a lot of grief. So that's a gray area. You may have to get a doctor to evaluate and say she's good or she's not good, and move from there.
Okay, so hope that helps, George. We appreciate the call. We are going to break. When we come back, we've got just a little more time on the Ask the Attorney episode that you're seeing right now on Open Line, so come on back with us.